We've been on this incredible journey together for 9 episodes, looking at all the evidence, but now we've reached the single most important point of all. This is the idea that really unlocks everything else we've talked about.
I want you to notice the key word here. The fool doesn't say this in his head after carefully weighing all of the facts. No, he says it in his heart. And that, right there, is the absolute core of the issue. It's where the problem of disbelief really begins.
You see, this explains why mountains of evidence sometimes just don't seem to make a dent. We've seen it all in this series, haven't we? From the insane fine-tuning of the universe to the literal digital code packed into our DNA, and those unbelievable molecular machines inside our cells. The evidence is powerful. So why isn't it always enough?
Well, it's because the problem starts with the heart's desire. An atheist isn't usually someone who kind of reluctantly concluded God doesn't exist after looking at all the data. More often than not, it's someone whose heart simply doesn't want God to exist. And then the head just acts like a lawyer. Hired to defend a verdict the heart has already handed down. It's just building a case for what it already wants to be true.
And it is so crucial to understand this has absolutely nothing to do with intelligence. Some of the most brilliant people in the world are believers, and some are atheists. A high IQ is not the determining factor here. It's not about being smart enough. It's about something much, much deeper.
You know, the Apostle Paul diagnosed this exact dynamic 2,000 years ago. He said that when people see the obvious reality of a creator in the world around them but just refuse to acknowledge him, something happens to their thinking. It becomes, in his words, futile.
And this just illustrates his point perfectly. When you suppress the most obvious explanation, a creator, you're forced to believe some pretty wild things. That everything exploded from nothing? That life just spontaneously appeared from non-living chemicals? That our consciousness, our minds, our thoughts somehow emerged from rocks? I mean, honestly, it takes an immense amount of faith to believe those things. So where does that leave us? Do we just need more arguments? Sharper debates? Do we need to discover even more compelling evidence to just pile on top of what we already have? If the problem isn't a lack of evidence, what in the world is the solution?
So let's just get right to the real issue. The root cause isn't intellectual. It's not a lack of information. It's a condition of the heart, a heart that is turned against its creator and needs to be completely transformed.
And right here, this is the only true cure. It's not something we can reason our way into. It's a divine heart transplant that only God himself can perform. He promises to take out a hard, resistant heart of stone and replace it with a living, responsive heart of flesh. More data can't do that. Only God can.
And here's what happens when he does that. The evidence itself, it doesn't change one bit. The stars, the DNA, the cells, they were always there. But what changes is the heart's ability to see and accept what that evidence is pointing to. Suddenly, the heavens that always declared his glory, they start shouting it.
This completely reframes how we should see science. Science isn't the enemy of faith. Far from it. Science is simply the study of God's fingerprints. The more we discover, the more we see the clear markings of an intelligent, powerful, and creative mind behind it all.
So the crucial point is this: science has never, ever disproved God. In fact, it depends on the very order and logic he built into the universe. People don't disbelieve because of science. They often hide behind science to justify a disbelief that was already settled deep in their hearts. It becomes a convenient shield.
And this brings us to the final, most important point of this entire series. If the problem is a hard heart and the cure is a new one, then the only one who can perform that spiritual surgery is the one who created the heart to begin with. The only true, lasting cure is the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Just think about this for a moment. The creator of everything we've talked about, the stars, the galaxies, life itself. He stepped into his own creation. He came to rescue and heal the very people who were shaking their fists at him. That's the offer of the gospel. And so the final question I have to leave you with is this: will you let him perform the cure?